Mijn naam is Benjamin Herman, ik ben saxofonist en ik heb het eer en genoegen om Elbow te mogen interviewen. Well, you introduce yourselves. I think everybody knows who you are, but let's do it anyway.
I'm Guy, I'm the lead singer of Elbow.
I'm Pete, I'm the bass player in Elbow.
Okay, very good. That question went really well. Yeah. Well, I just to start things off, I was a big fan of the Singing Detective when I was young. Mm-hmm. I'm 43 now, and I used to watch it very much, and I only realized somewhere this year that your name came from the series, and then everybody told me it's on your website. But I was very happy to hear about that. But I was just wondering if the series, if the music of the series, if you're fans of what was in the series, and if it ever influenced you at the beginning.
It was more the way the music happened in The Singing Detective that was a breakthrough at the time. It's quite normal now with dramas, TV dramas, to slip into fantasy or into the mind of a character. It didn't happen that often, really, before Dennis Potter did it. The music from that film, that old stuff like the Johnny Mercer stuff, and the old wartime stuff as well. I'd never looked at it as anything other than old people's music before The Singing Detective, and suddenly it was I really love the old stuff now. I listen to an awful lot of New Orleans jazz, and I also love some of the old wartime stuff, you know. I love the idea that we can listen to recordings of somebody that's been dead for 50, 60 years more in some cases. So
yeah, well, that's the great thing about the internet as well. You can find it everywhere. Yeah. I'd never heard of Al Jolson before that series, and I was amazed by it when I heard it. So it turned me on. I give the CDs as presents to people. You know, everybody loves the music. So it was also a certain mood in this series that I sort of liked, which was very. It was kind of sad, but also uplifting through the singing and the dancing. I mean, did you follow the series at the time? I don't know.
I remember it being there. Yeah. But it was. Guy brought the box set. We went on a trip to France, this little cottage where we were doing some writing a long time ago, which was kind of like where I really became aware of it and watched it and soaked it in. We kind of like all sat down. It was a good thing to have. Kept us from going mad. We were in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was there during, you know, our first writing trip where we went away to sort of try and figure out what we were doing.
Did you have the name by then, or was it?
Yeah, we sat down and decided we needed a new name. We'd been together at that point about 8 or 9 years. We decided we needed a new name because our music had changed from this really shitty funk that we'd been playing for years.
I'd love to hear that, by the way.
It's not quite far enough away for it not to be hideously embarrassing still, but one day maybe, yeah. But so the music had changed, but we hadn't changed the name, which at the time was Soft. Yeah. And so it was like we got together and said, let's pick a new name. And we decided that for the following week we'd all write down ideas. And knowing that no name is ever perfect, the idea was to get together the next week and cross them off until we had one left. Yeah. And when we got back together the following week, I was the only person that had put pen to paper. And in a kind of bit of a strop, bit of a huff, I went, right, we're called Elbow. And the lads were like, no, we're not, it's a terrible name, which of course it is. But I wrote it on the wall and we got stoned and decided it was a good idea after all.
Yeah. I think it's a great name.
You don't. Some of my favourite bands have shit names. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like I associate them with the music they write rather than, you know.
Yeah, I always thought the Beatles was kind of a weird name.
Yeah. You don't think.
So, no, exactly.
A good name, I think, is Grandaddy. I always think that's a cool name.
Yeah. I was wondering, because you've been together for 20 years, but your first album the EP came out in 2000, right? The first one. What were you doing in the meantime? Was that the time you were playing funk music, slapping the bass?
We were learning to play, really. the first rehearsal we ever did, we played 12-bar blues because that was the only thing we could play. And we thought we'd be signed in 6 months. And then slowly but surely, I guess we used funk to learn how to play our instruments. And I used to scat and things like that.
Lovely.
I did used to play the bongos, yeah.
They were more sort of stone jams, though. You know, we'd have a song that was just called Stone Jam.
Yeah.
Because that's, you know, it's exactly what it was. Those things are, you know, it's a great way and it's fun. You know, it's a fun way of learning to do what you do.
Yeah, well, that's because there was a big change at a certain moment, and you got to, you got the record contract, and it's widely known that you got dropped at the time. And you know, I was wondering, if you've been together for so long and then you get dumped, how do you ever find the strength to carry on after that? Because how old were you when you got dumped? I mean,
It was 2000, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think we first lost Island Deal. I mean, if Sleeping the Bat was 2001, then we must have lost the Island Deal
In 2000.
2000. Yeah, we've lost a lot of deals.
Yeah. It was kind of like the first time we lost a deal, we went out into town and told everybody in the musical community in Manchester that we were finally free of our record contract, because we knew word would get out and we didn't want to look like victims of the situation for fear that'd look negative for any other prospective investors, sort of thing. Yeah. So we went out and it was a Twisted Nerve gig with Badly Drawn Boy and everybody playing, and that was all happening in Manchester. And we got the news on the way in, pulled over, had a little cry, and then I phoned the rest of the band and said, come into town, we're going to tell everybody that this has happened. And within a few beers we'd convinced ourselves it was a good thing, and we carried on.
Yeah, well, that's always the best way to look at a bad thing, is see what kind of positive energy you can get out of that. But I thought that was interesting to read as a musician, because everybody has to face these kind of things sometimes. And a lot of people just quit or go and play in a hotel or something.
It's not easy to hold on, really, is it? It's kind of, you know, I assume that these days, you know, they're not as necessary. Do you know what I mean? But back then, they pretty much were.
It was everything,
really?
Yeah, it was everything.
It intrigues me you've been together for so long, and I like to see that, because it's interesting to see with this day and age, with all these people having short careers on television and stuff, to see a band that's really developing and still working and going strong.
I think these things are a shame, you know, like you get a band. I remember when the Strokes first came on the scene and they looked like a gang, do you know what I mean? They looked like that, and then you kind of see these things go wrong, and it's a real shame, do you know what I mean? I think we're all very proud that, you know, for 20 years it's, you know, the same people, you know, doing the same thing, you know, together, and, you know, it's like...
Yeah, it feeds itself.
Cool. Yeah.
It's so the longer you've been together, the more you've got to celebrate every time something good happens. Yeah. You know, and so it gets easier as the years go on rather than harder.
It's great to see once again that the band just gets better all the time, and it's wonderful it's inspiring as a musician as well.
Much.
And well, people want to know, of course, like, what do you think of the festival? You were at Pink Pop this year, right? Mm-hmm. And just the difference between Lowlands and Pink Pop. Is there anything you noticed so far? I mean,
Lowlands has so many specific. Well, it has a specific memory for us. You know, it was the last time we were here. It was bucketing down with rain, and it forced more people into the tent. Yeah. So we got more attention than we would have done normally. And I don't know if you find this, Benjamin, but if there's a really intense sort of atmosphere in a gig and the unexpected's going on, you sometimes don't know whether it was good or not when you come off. Yeah. And we were arguing when we got off. Some of us thought it was terrible, and some of us thought it was great, and we misinterpreted a lot of what was going on. And then we watched the DVD back, because we were very kindly given a DVD of the performance, and we loved it. And that sort of, and the camera was occasionally straying outside, and there was a couple dancing in the rain to Mirrorball, you know, and so that
they were probably on something or other.
Do you mean drugs? Yeah, they were almost certainly high on something other than their love for each other. But yeah, so Lowlands reminds me of that, really. Pink Pop's got an atmosphere all its own in terms of it's right at the beginning of the summer, so there's an atmosphere of real excitement, and it's almost like everybody wants to do everything they can all at once. It really moves quickly. Lowlands, everybody's lying on the grass, everybody's relaxed, and it feels really good.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing your gig tonight. Have you got, just a last question, have you got anything specific lined up for this evening? Any special tricks? Any kinds of like orchestras in the van and things like that?
We've got our string section with us. We've got a quartet that all sing as well, and we've got Kate Carter with us, our amazing lighting director. She's brilliant. But mainly we're recording this for release of special edition of the album.
Okay, wow.
So some of the stuff from Pink Pop and some of the stuff from tonight is going to be on a special, just a Dutch release. So
I think everyone's going to be really happy about that, having something personal. Yeah. So I want to wish you good luck this evening.
Thank you.
I've got really sweaty hands now.
Me too.
Thank you very much.
But thanks for spending some time outside in the grass, and hope to see your show later.
Very cool. Thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers.